Morning, guys. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Extra hour sleep. Ravens Broncos. Oh, it's gonna be a great game today. It's gonna be a great day of football. Got a great feeling about everything. So let's get right into it. First, I'm gonna do the Ravens Broncos though because it's gonna be a huge test for the Ravens defense. Number one, huge test. Sean Payton and the Broncos offense. They're feeling good. They're feeling good. They're 5-3. It's gonna be short yardage, tight ends, running backs, quick screens, running the ball, a lot of running the ball. The Broncos are going to try to control the ball. Most teams try to do that against the Ravens. It's not a secret, but the Broncos have the personnel. It's already part of their game plan to do these short yardage. You're going to see a lot of Bo Nix run around. They're not going to let them do 5, 7 step drops. They don't want to get any sacks. The Broncos, it's going to be tough. They're going to have to. The Ravens, if they're going to if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to win up front. They're banged up front. Lots of injuries. Broncos' running game has not been great, but at the same time, the Ravens' rush defense, they better be ready because I really think the Broncos are just going to pound that ball right up the middle, quick screens, try to get their big offensive linemen out in open space. This is going to be a challenge. I'm really looking forward to this game. Roquan, this is the type of game where I think he can shine and just bust everything up. Same thing with Hamilton. Wiggins is back, and Humphrey's back. The defense, if they're going to get rolling here, this is a good spot because they're going to have to be on their P's and Q's and be ready to go. The Broncos don't have a ton of athletes on the perimeter. They do have Sutton, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to this game. So anyway, on the other side, Ravens, man, they I say the same thing every time. Nobody that watches Ravens football has a different opinion. Like if you're a Baltimore Ravens football fan, it's the same thing all the time. If we can just run the football here, everything would be great. So I'm not gonna spend any time talking about that. Just can we run the football? Deontay Johnson being in here is interesting. Interesting is the word. I don't know exactly what to make of it because I don't love the emphasis on another receiver. It doesn't mean that they can't sign somebody else on defense, but the identity of the Ravens should be the two tight ends and run the football. That's just what it is. I don't know. I'm never going to change my mind on that. Flowers has been a great addition. His improvement is really, I'm super impressed with him. He's going to get a big test today against those Broncos corners. Broncos defense is really good. They force a lot of turnovers. They get their hands on the ball a lot. They're smart. Lamar is going to have to be special. I am so looking forward to this game. So Ravens Broncos at 1 o'clock. Let's see how it plays out. They're big favorites. I mean, it's hard for me to. I say it all the time. I'm not betting regardless, but 9 point favorite was a big surprise. It doesn't go down at all. I guess they just don't think the Broncos are going to get rolling here. So Ravens -9 if you're going to the game. Enjoy it. Good luck if you're betting on it. Should be fun. All right, rest of the games. Let's go through it. See where we can find value. Looking for a big day today. Looking for a big day. No more baseball here to bail me out on Sunday. So all right, Patriots Titans. Patriots Titans. Mason Rudolph and Drake May. I like the Patriots. They're +3. I don't know if I like them enough to bet on them. I won the bet last week with the Patriots as they held the Jets under on their points. So I watched a decent amount of that game. Patriots are pretty good. Defensively, they like have enough players on there that I feel like the Titans are just so bad that I feel there'll be some turnovers there. Give me the 3 points with the Patriots. Whether or not I actually pull the trigger, I'm not 1,000% sure. But yeah, I like the Patriots more than I like the Titans. And Drake May didn't finish the game last week, and Brissett did. Made a couple plays down the field. I don't know if the Patriots are terrible. I think the Titans are more so terrible, and they're going to have to draft a new quarterback. Will Levis is not playing, so it's Rudolph. Yeah, I can't take the Titans leaning towards the Patriots. This is the game in the beginning of the week that I liked the most, which was the Chargers against the Browns. Pretty surprised it hasn't moved. If anything, it went the other way. The Browns are, the Chargers are only favored by a point against Cleveland. I watched all, Jameis Winston's shenanigans last week. So what I was saying in the beginning of the week was I don't know how the Browns are going to move the ball against the Chargers. But the more maybe I dived into it and the lack of, just why is it not 3 or 3.5 is I don't know if the Chargers will be able to move the ball. The Browns' home field advantage, their defense plays so good at home. So I think my bet for this week is going to be under with the Browns points. just in case they somehow win this game 10-7 or 13-9. But the Chargers offense has been so uninspiring. Um, and the Browns defense, Ward's going to play. Earlier in the week, I didn't think he was going to play. And the Browns are going to be in a good mood. They don't have Deshaun Watson. They still, like, even though these teams are 2-6, some teams are in a really bad mood at 2-6. Other teams like the Browns, they actually feel good about themselves. So I'm going to go under on the Browns points. Feel like it'll be a field goal game. Maybe the Chargers pull it out at the end, but I don't think the Browns are going to score. And if the way Jameis Winston was yesterday, or last week, if I'm the Browns, I just got to run the ball, get my defense on the field. He tried to throw 20 interceptions. We don't have to relive that. But yeah, my stronger play is going to be on the under with the Browns total points rather than the Chargers. Saints Panthers, the worst game of the day, so we don't have to watch that. Saints are favored by 7.5. They played week one. The Saints beat them by 100. Saints are probably really looking forward to playing them again. The different Saints team, that's for sure. Favored by 7.5 at Carolina. No, I'm not betting the Panthers, even though I'm not betting the Saints. I'm not really going to talk much about this game. If you have a strong opinion on the Saints to give that many points, go for it. If you don't mind getting bit by the Panthers week in and week out, go for that. But man, the Panthers last week, it's probably the last straw, as they were. If you bet on the Panthers, as they were 13 points, 12 points by the time the line closed against the Broncos, and they go up 7-0, and that was it. So they lose again, 28-14. Who can bet on the Panthers? What a disaster that franchise is. So leaving that game alone, this feels like the Dolphins are going to cover this spread. Bills -6.5 at home against Miami just feels like a tight game. Why? Because the Dolphins are just teetering here. They lost to the Cardinals last week at home. They now go to Buffalo. The Bills are just rolling. They destroyed Seattle. They're home. Everything's going in the right direction for Buffalo, the wrong direction for Miami. But it's a divisional game. Weird things happen. And I just have a funny feeling Buffalo's played pretty good up there. I know they got destroyed week 2, was it, against Buffalo? Miami got destroyed on Sunday Night Football. Tua got knocked out. Just, I don't know. I don't know. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've been wrong the past 2 weeks about Buffalo. They ended up destroying Tennessee in the second half, and then they just gave it to Seattle last week. Buffalo really gave it to Seattle. This feels like a tighter game. So I'm going to stay away from Buffalo here. 6.5 points. Yep. The Dolphins, they better win if they want to be relevant, because I think they're in the must-win situation. There's not too many teams in week 9 in must-win situations. The Jags and the Dolphins are kind of those two teams. We'll get the Jags in a minute. Cowboys aren't quite in must-win, but they're as close to must-win as possible, as the Eagles and the Commanders have separated themselves. Dallas goes to Atlanta. Probably Dallas has just as many fans in Atlanta. It's not going to be a big home field advantage. Atlanta is hot and cold, really hot last week. Cold the week before. They played really well against Tampa last week, and then last time they were home, they got destroyed by Seattle. So Atlanta's hard to figure out. How do they match up with Dallas? They match up well because everybody matches up well with Dallas, because Dallas can't stop anybody. Dallas can't stop the run. They just can't. Purdy was able to get some big plays last week with the tight end Kittle. Doesn't look good for the Cowboys. Elliott's not going to play. They didn't say exactly why, unless I didn't see it, but disciplinary reasons, which who fucking knows what's going on with Cowboys. Dalvin Cook, I don't know how you take the Cowboys today. I'm leaning towards the Falcons, but I'm sick of being wrong about the Falcons this year, so I'll probably stay away from the game. But who knows? Cowboys will probably end up winning, because that's just what the Cowboys do as soon as you're done betting on them. But yeah, they're 3.5-point favorites at Atlanta. Cowboys, if they're going to get it together, it feels like they get blown out today. Maybe they just fire the coach tomorrow. I don't know. Just everything falling apart for Dallas. So Dallas, staying away from it. Maybe take Atlanta's over in their total points if I was going to do anything. What else we got? Raiders at Bengals. Hope the Raiders win. Ravens play the Bengals on Thursday night. They get them at home. Bengals looking for their third straight. They were 1-5. They're now 3-5. They had a soft schedule the past couple of weeks. It continues today as they get the Raiders. I would bet the under team total points on the Raiders. I'll dive a little bit more into that, but I'm so uninspired. Yeah, the Raiders just they ended up covering last week though. They ended up covering, but the Raiders are just they're just not a good football team. They need to draft a quarterback. They probably need a new coach. Cincinnati's I wouldn't be surprised if they rolled them today. I won't bet the Bengals, but I'm leaning towards betting the under total in Vegas. So don't like the Raiders there. Commanders at the Giants. Feels very similar to the Dolphins Bills game, where it's a divisional game. Both teams are going in complete opposite directions, and you can't justify taking the Giants here. The same way, how do you justify taking the Dolphins? But just these divisional games are weird. Giants seem to play Washington pretty tight. Giants should have beaten them the was it second week of the season this year, but they didn't because they didn't have a kicker, and they had to keep settling for whatchamacallit. They had to go for 2 point conversions. They couldn't get field goals. So the Commanders ended up beating them. But Daniel Jones did play pretty good in that game. Washington's at New York, 4 point favorites. Washington, I've been right about them. So it's like when you're right, you're right. Like I don't want to overthink it. And it feels like the spread should be 6.5, 7. They're only 4 point favorites, but again, just weird divisional game. So I think I'm probably going to stay away from it. I just want to keep seeing Washington win. And I'd rather take the Commanders when they're an underdog on the road, when there's more value there. I don't know if I love them as a 4 point favorite. They could win. I mean, I'm expecting them to win the game, but football's weird. Divisional games are extra weird. So staying away from that one. This one I feel pretty good about. The Bears go all the way to Arizona. There I go, trying to guess when the good Cardinals are going to show up. I think it's this week. Cardinals favored by 2 at home against Chicago. I like this spot for Arizona. I don't like the spot at all for Chicago. It's a lot of all the way on the West Coast. Probably a good amount of fans for Chicago over there. But the Bears are going to have a hard time protecting Caleb Williams. It's just the theme of what's going on this season with the Bears. And Arizona's coordinator, or excuse me, head coach Gannon, who is the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, is doing a pretty good job with that Arizona defense. I was impressed with how they adjusted in the second half to Miami. It's a really big win for them last week. The type of win that puts them in a super good mood. They're home against the Bears. If they get the lead against Chicago, plus what happened to the Bears last week is just it's a type of loss where when you look at the end of the year and you're like, man, we have 8 wins, we had 9, or they're just one game short. That Hail Mary against Washington is just gonna, you just can't get away from it. I don't think they rebound. I think instead they lose to Arizona. Bears are still gonna win a couple games to finish out the year. They're not bad. I think they're gonna look bad though today. I think they're gonna look pretty bad. They're gonna have to address the offensive line in the offseason. Bears are probably the best team to have a different coach, an improved offensive line, and be really good next year. I just think there's too many holes fundamentally. I don't love the head coach over there. So give me Arizona today. That's the first 4 o'clock game. And I am definitely taking the Jaguars. I don't care if I'm wrong. I'm dying on the hill that this Eagles team is not good. I know they burned me last week. They burned me the week before. Going right back at him again. I think Jags, Doug Peterson back to Philadelphia. Jags are going to at least light it up. 7 points is too many. Do they pull it out in the end? I'm not sure, but it's going to be close. It's going to be close to the end. I like the Jags. Too many points. I might stay away from the under total on the Eagles because that I did stay away from it last week, even though they still beat the Bengals. But the offense is playing better. I just think that the Jags defense, the Jags will score enough points that the Eagles will get stupid and they won't give the ball to Saquon. So I'm dying on the hill of bad coaching with Philadelphia. Give me the Jags +7. This game is talk about two teams going in different directions. The Rams are feeling great. Rams at Seattle. Rams got they got their guys back. The Rams played, a great game against Minnesota on Thursday night. Really impressive, especially in the second half with their defense. Stafford to Puka, Stafford to Kupp. Kyron Williams was dynamic. Rams offense looks really good. They go to Seattle. Seattle fought each other last week. So in the middle of losing to Buffalo, they're fighting each other, literally fighting each other. 2 of their defensive players on the sideline, pouring down rain. Just a miserable, miserable game for Seattle last week. How they respond this week, I think says a lot about McDonald's first year as a head coach. Says a lot about the Seahawks because the Rams are favored. Rams at Seattle, and the Rams are favored. Nobody, I want to say nobody wants to bet on Seattle. Like when they lose like they did last week, I know I don't want to bet on Seattle. I got them for the season and a couple different bets. Really interesting to see how this plays out. I'll stay away from it. I think everything's pointing towards the Rams. Divisional game probably comes down to a field goal. See how it plays out. Probably the best game on the board. Lions, Packers. Love and Jacobs are both playing. Packers are home. They're still getting 3 points. I mean, there's respect for the Lions. I mean, the Lions tried to score 300 points, it looked like, in the first half last week at home against the Titans. The Lions are, I guess they're the best team. I mean, the Chiefs have the best record, but, especially if Hutchinson was active, the Lions are just on fire right now. Dome team, though, goes to Green Bay. Grass will be a little high. Slow down the Lions. Fast receivers, fast running backs. Love and Jacobs are both playing. Feels like a good spot here for the Packers. Feels like a good spot. They're getting 3 points. The metrics all point towards the Lions. I think if they made this number anything besides Lions -3, that the money would be more on the Lions, making it Lions -3. I think it's a 50-50 game. And in a 50-50 game, give me the home team. And I'm still going to say the better quarterback. Goff has been playing great, but I think Love's ceiling is high enough, and he's going to play. This is the first primetime game, I feel like, for the Packers in a minute, right? They had the opening game on Friday night, but they've had a lot of these 1 o'clock games that nobody's really watching. Love's been erratic. He's been hurt. I feel like he shines today. Lions are probably still a better roster. Maybe. I don't know. I think the Packers are really good. The Packers were my team to make the Super Bowl this year. I had Chiefs and the Packers. So give me the Packers today, +3. Good spot for them. The game was in Detroit. Be a completely different story. But Lions have to play from behind today. Maybe the offense doesn't look as efficient. And yeah, I like Green Bay. Favorite game, though. Favorite game is Sunday night. Thank God, the Colts. All my preseason bets with the Colts, they go back to Flacco. I get to root for the Colts, which is weird. I'm not old enough to remember the Baltimore Colts, so I guess it's one thing, but I know that you're not supposed to root for the Colts. Peyton Manning was here and really couldn't root for the Colts because he was just so good, frustrating. But Flacco, I'm making an exception, especially since I had my preseason bets on the Colts. Yep, the Colts are going to win the night. They're getting 5 points. Flacco, Sunday Night Football in a dome, controlled environment, lots of good receivers. The Vikings want to zero blitz him. I would advise against that at your own peril because he's going to pick you apart. The Colts go to Flacco, Anthony Richardson. Who knows what's happened to him? Who knows what's going to happen to him? Colts are good. Colts are like a really good offense. The defense is playing much better. I think they win. 5 points is too many, and I actually think they win the game. So that's my favorite bet. Colts, Colts, Colts. I think the Vikings lose 3 straight, but they still are going to make the playoffs. I know they've lost 2 straight. Still think the Vikings are a pretty good team, but yeah, Flacco is a perfect matchup for him because Flores, I think, is going to get egotistical, arrogant is the word I was looking for. Be like, I'll just zero blitz everybody no matter what. You cannot zero blitz Flacco. That's like, you just can't do it. He's got those big, tall receivers pitting it on the outside. He's got downs. I like the Colts. So that's it for me for today. Good luck, whatever you're betting, and appreciate everybody being here still. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the morning. Really looking forward to this Ravens game. Guess my final prediction is 24-21. Hopefully we pull it out, but I think it's going to be really, really tight. Wouldn't kill Tucker to make some field goals today. Have a good day, guys, and good luck. See you in the morning.